Hey there, Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCGFAM show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? I'm gonna pull my shirt out there so my gut's not sticking. Welcome to the OCGFAM show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? Let me know in the comments. We got a good show today. It's Friday, and we're gonna have kind of kickback situation. Scott Ostrander from Nectar for the Gods. I did an interview with him. I guess you'd call it just a little talk. We talked viewer questions. We answered a bunch of viewer questions. We showed the first part of it on last Friday, and now it's the part two. Bruce Leaf, we're talking about one of your questions, a couple other things, some stuff about curing, drainage, super soil, all kinds of fun stuff. It's an interesting conversation. Got pretty deep. I think you're going to enjoy it. I hope you'll check it out. Watch this, and I'll talk to you after.
Can do it either way.
All right. I think that's that. It was a good show.
It wasn't bad. What was on that one?
Now we're getting into the questions.
We're going to go ahead and pretend like we cut, just in case.
I do the very exact same thing you guys explained, but my flower is curing now, and it smells funky. Please help. No.
That's a tough one. It really is a tough one because that could be so many things.
The moisture content, these sorts of things, humidity from when you were doing it, but
fast dehydration. If you have a dehumidifier in there, that'll suck it out. If you didn't give enough calcium, you didn't get enough oil. If your genetics suck, if the guy you got seeds from is a moron, if your clones aren't what they say they are, if you're growing hemp industrial, there's 1,000 things that can cause the problem. And I know awesome, like, next level growers that have a bad run of genetics that just don't give you the cure.
Well, I guess that's probably a good answer to this, is that you should do everything you can to do it right, but that might not be enough. You might have had a bad plant that's just not gonna.
And you know, the curing process alone, I don't care what plant it is. I've never, well, I won't say never. Very rarely do you get that finished bouquet in the first 10 days of cure. Because you're getting rid of the moisture content, you're converting the oils into this finished aroma. You're cracking cannabinoids open. There's a whole process in that 10 to 21 day cure process.
Right.
So if you're in day 14 of cure, patience. If you're at 45 days in cure, then you got shitty genetics. Or you over-nitrated all the way up until the end. You're in hot soil that literally never got rid of its nitrogen or its proteins. There's 1,000 different things that can cause that issue. Believe me, I've had many that I'm like, yeah, that's now chicken food, because it literally is just like,
but there's nothing to be lost by continuing to cure this thing and seeing how it goes.
Worst case scenario, yeah, go get it extracted or make it into butter. But I mean, there's always a win.
Yeah.
It's just how you look at it. But yeah there's no magical. You can't, if it's
so
a
when
pig,
you got
it's a
to the end
pig.
of this process and it was no good, you might consider
Not
trying
growing
some
that
different
genetic.
stuff.
Yeah, I'd probably try something that had a flavor name that you want, like blueberry, strawberry crush.
Okay.
Yeah, something.
Something.
Yeah,
Just do
whatever.
something. All right. So there's another Bruce Leaf, one of my favorite guys, had a question here that's pretty extensive.
That's not a question. That's a story.
It's a story because he had
he's a great guy.
No, absolutely. And he had a good crop. He
He
just didn't have the bulk he needed. And there's a couple things here that I wanted to say. So a lot of it was that he's only able to get at it twice a week or something like that. So let's talk about that, and then also I want to talk about how you diagnose these problems, what they can tell you so you can help them. First of all, if you're only hitting the thing twice a week, it's not going to get big, is it?
Twice a week.
Once a week? My situation garden is miles from home, so I'm limited. That brings up another question. So he's saying he can't be out there every day. That's a tough deal.
It's tough because, I mean, it doesn't matter what your nutrients you're using. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you can't put the time in, you're not going to get it out.
So you can grow some quality flowers, but they're going to be small.
Yeah, I mean, clearly this isn't your first job.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
And the tough thing is that you have to put in to get out. And so with this line, it almost equates across the board. I mean, if you're pushing it, you're feeding them 2-3 times a week, you're going to see the results on the backside. I mean, it's just being able to be there. Now, if you're there once every 4th or 5th day, and that's all you can do on feeding, And in that same time frame, what's occurring? Are they drying out? Are they overheating? Are they too cold? Is it way too humid? Not humid
Are
enough?
they way too wet because you're overwatering them because you got to get them through 5 days?
Yeah, and there's so many pieces to that puzzle. He goes on to ask about making like a super soil style, and if you can still top feed nectar on top of it. And to that I say absolutely. That would probably be your only answer to take what you're doing to the next step by giving them that backup food source while you're not there.
So if you were doing a super soil, I mean, can be a tough deal to do. I mean, would you use just one shot?
That's what I mean, and I think he even brings that up.
Himself, yeah.
If I use the number 4 as a base soil, and then heard from you guys. So I've heard about from you. Yeah, so basically a super soil that they've heard about from us, which is basically, go look at Heroes of the Farm on Instagram and look at those beds. We call that Heroes Blend right now. It's a basic super soil mix. It's got that axis in there that everybody's writing in about. Where it's coming soon.
Okay.
But it's one of those where they feed it once a week in flour for 6 weeks, and then they just shut it down.
Okay.
And they're getting the quality. But again, I mean, they went from flowers to a whole bunch of flowers for simplicity, cost effectiveness, and that's their market for what they're doing in those greenhouses.
So one shot would be you're keeping the thing fed through the thing.
It's like putting dry Gaia in the root zone all week.
And then a very mechanically effective soil that can hold water without being waterlogged, I guess what you would say.
Yeah, exactly. Airs out, but keeps the moisture content for the fungus. And then you're coming through once every 4 to 5 days and hitting them with the base nutrients and excess Afro, Tritons, and Demeters.
So there is an answer to this, but that's still not going to be. You're not going to be that guy that did the huge holy moly thing because that
even that guy's not that guy. I mean, that guy says that, but he also catches 85-pound salmon, so it's not happening.
That's big.
Yeah, it's that big. And mine's this one. But the reality is that's your best bet is to take it to one next step. You'll still get the quality. You're still going to get the oil production. You're going to get the content, the terpenes. But being that you're only feeding them once or twice a week, you're probably still going to just maintain, mids.
Yeah, but
not
good ones.
Quality.
Yeah,
no, mid size, but killer quality.
So if you did not have access to Access, would you use more perlite or pumice? Or is that going to make it drain too fast and go the other way?
Yeah, I would add more cocoa or peat moss to get the retention.
Okay. And microbial life would help to make it sticky in there to hold that down?
I mean, make sure. But see, in this instance, do you feed or do you tea? Because if you're only there once a week, there's your conundrum. It's like, well, do I give the plants nutrition and then let the microbes that are built into the soil break it down? Or do I hit it with a compost tea today and hope that I build biofilm to retain moisture down the road? I'd be going with feed.
Yeah.
Because at least I'm growing and producing. Or that's where the easy tea comes in so damn handy, or Photo Plus or SLF is build your food, throw a bunch of your tea, your microbes in at the end, and then water them all in at once.
If you were going to be there for a couple hours once time a week, would you maybe feed and then wait a while and then tea, or would
no? Because now you're waterlogged again.
No, of course. So you just throw it all in together. So you would put some tea in with your feeding thing and then hope for the best.
Yeah, that's the best thing. I mean, honestly, cultured has helped a lot of people get past the 24 to 40 hour brew time.
Right.
And by putting spores right in your soil, that's a great idea because the spores aren't going to germinate right now. Some will germinate in a week, but the reality is as you're putting them in, they're going to be colonizing once they start germinating and growing. And then those guys are in there, so you don't have to compost tea that regularly.
So in a fashion, you are composting a few days later because they're coming around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And whatever lived and died in the soil now is food source for the next colony that comes through, grows, eats, and dies, and consumes all their death. So, yeah, you're not... for his situation, I would be doing mostly feeds, and, I would do since you can only get there once or twice a week, maybe. I mean, it's hard to tell.
Yeah. He's probably flexible. If he has to go, he has to go. Just like to avoid it if he can.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the hard part is to really. I mean, I'm 30 feet from my garden, and I have to be there at least once a day.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've caught them completely dried out because I didn't want them for 2 days, and it hit 95. And you're like, no. So once they get really dry, they don't like to take on water. It stresses out the roots. They stop producing. Yeah, so there's so many reasons. I mean, I've only been doing this for 25 years, and I've yet to hit a perfect crop. You'd think I'd give up.
You would think.
This close. I finally know enough people that I don't have to grow anymore.
Nice.
But barely. Still have to beg.
So it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Or who knows you.
It's not me, yeah. Or who likes you, who knows you. Because a lot of people know me, but not many people like me. So there's a huge piece there. Yeah, let's see. Fuck you.
No, I love you. I love you dearly. I know other people that wouldn't walk across the street to piss on you if you're on fire, but we don't need to talk about that now.
Those people I run over on the sidewalk anyway. And then he was talking about here, his slurry test was probably, what you were giving them, because he had it down here, slurry read under 300 and the mid-6s on the pH, all through the bloom at the 12 and 12 cycle, and he still was ending up small flowers. But that just... 300 is almost perfect. That's what you almost want to finish out at.
Yeah.
But if you're putting in 1400 and ending up at 3, then you should be going up to 1800 and you're probably getting at 350 to 4.
Okay.
Because they were eating what you were giving them. And so by giving them that little bit weekly, that's your end result, is your ppms drop because you're not feeding the microbes enough to have any type of reserve in the soil. Gotcha. And then a PK booster, that's just like swearing at me. I mean, that's truly like just calling me all sorts of hurtful names. PK boosters, and for the most part in our industry, are high potassium and phosphates. Neither of them are good things in the big grand scheme of agriculture. I mean, we are killing off the entire Gulf of Mexico through PK boosters.
Because we're synthetically doing it with that. And
there's no fucking natural PK boosters. It's called kelp and bone meal. P and K.
Yeah.
And that stuff's not going to destroy our environment, our world, and our water systems. If you look up how nutrients enter the plant and the mode of entering the plant, it's usually water, mineral, or energy. And those are high energy water molecules that go into the plant. They suck up water. It's like, if you jogged all day and you become very dehydrated, the first thing you want to do is just suck up water with electrolytes to get dehydrated.
Yeah.
And PK boosters, they often just flood the plant with a ton of water, a lot of moisture, which swells everything up, and that's great. It makes them look super fat on the vine, and that's where you get most of your pictures. Look how big my things are. But they don't ever show you that same picture of it hanging upside down, half its weight in airy and larvae, because water will evaporate after you cut it from the plant.
Sure.
So we don't like PK boosters. They torture your plants with our nutrient line. The calcium will lock them up. You create burns, deficiencies. I've never seen anyone in our... very, very rarely do I see a PK product. And we're talking 0.15, 15, or 17.30. I mean, PK booster, not 0.55. But when I see these synthetic PK boosters with our nutrient line, we see nothing but instant lock and instant nightmares. So I don't have a PK booster for you. Up your bone meal, up your kelp. Other than that, I would not put in any type of Bloombastic or any of that crap. It's just
a great name!
Yeah, it comes in a giant metal bottle and they charge you a ton for it. Or shooting powder, or, they all work well with their nutrient lines because they're NPK driven.
They're for that.
Yeah,
for the
they're designed for that.
Yeah.
And it works for that. But when you have nothing but minerals and then you say, I'm going to swell my fruit, and your calcium is your mineral that's built your fruit, and then you inflate those with water, that water just goes away and ends up ruining your taste, all the aroma. I mean, it just destroys the profiles of what we try to do. So avoid PK boosters with our line. If you're running house and garden, their shooting powder is definitely the definition of their product line. Atari or Tommy or whatever. Yeah, Tommy, because Bloombastic. There's your PK booster. Everybody has one. We don't. Kelp and bone. So there's that, and then and then with the super soil, like I said, go look at Heroes, and they do that super soil mix, and then they come back through and literally just feed it once a week with the line, and they're crushing the numbers, the quality, their terpenes are still there. They're doing great with it.
But you wouldn't do the number 4.
They do the number 4.
But if he's not watering that often.
Well, the number 4 with the Axis and one shot. But yeah, I would do number 4 out of all of our mixes.
Okay.
If it's not our mixes, then add, or, you know.
Would you add anything into the number 4 for if you were watering less often, like some cocoa or something like that, or would you just? No, it's pretty good like it is.
I mean, yeah, it's hard for me because I built it the way I like it. So I can't run the way I fucking run it. So if you wanted less drainage, then, you know, add some more cocoa and peat moss to it, and then you'd be fine. Yeah. So there. Neener.
That's the show. See? That was awesome. Okay, that was fun. We sure appreciate Scott doing that. I hope you found it informative and enjoyable. That's the show for this week. I love you. I'll be back for the Monday show on Monday. We'll talk then. For more information about anything on today's show, go to our website, OCGFAM.com. And if you buy anything while you're there, use the code FAMSUMMER. It's going to save you 20%, and it's a lot of fun. The OCG Fam Show. It's pretty good. Oh, jeez. It's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you on Monday.